I decided that I'd had enough of being on grinder and welder, so I decided to come home and just do some wiring instead. So at the moment, this is all of the MX5 loom that I don't need, and right there is some of the wires that I've pulled out of the actual engine harness. Unfortunately, the engine harness on an MX5 is built in to the main loom, so I'm having to use the multimeter and trace through the loom and find all the powers, earths and sensor wires that I need to keep. I've labelled some of it, so I've got like air intake temperature, coolant plugs and whatnot. I think there's only about 11 items or so that I need to keep, and just simplifying the loom down to literally the minimum I need. Like, I might not even leave fan control on the ECU. I might just use, in fact I think the MX5 isn't ECU controlled. I think it literally just has a thermo switch, so I will do the same Micra chassis harness in there, and that already has fan control wiring in it, so I'll probably just keep that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to carry on chomping at this, and what I'll do is I will just keep showing you bits of wiring as and when I've done a bit more to it. I don't know if I'm going to do any more to this tonight. What's up, YouTube? So it's been a little while since I've done an update. Everything's a little bit wild at the moment, bits here and there, so I'll do my best to give a bit of an update. And also I'm going to be knocking out some MX5 knuckles, and I will film the process of what I do and how I do it and why I do it. Anyway, with this one, so I got a Gen V turbo plenum, which I've already shown you, and I've started repairing it, welded the crack up, started making a new flange along here. I think what I really want to do is weld this piece to the lid permanent, if I can do that without it warping too much. I just think that would be a more reliable and a better finish. I just think it'd be stronger. I've been doing a bit more on the wiring. Last time you saw this, it was in my house, and I was just trying to, you know, get through it a bit. Like, it's really hard to find a good wiring diagram for this this loom and this, you know, the MX5 ECU. I've been working through it and probing it, just marking stuff down and just trying to get an idea of where everything goes. And I think plugging it all in on the engine's made a massive difference. It's helped me work things out a bit. So all the injectors are plugged in, and that's the injection. That's the plug for the injector loom into the main harness, engine harness. TPS is in. I'll most likely, I did this just because I didn't have a soldering iron, but I had loads and loads of super seals, so I just joined stuff up like that. It just seemed like the easiest way at the time. So I'll give you a bit of a rundown on. So this went to the coil pack, spark A and B, so it's a signal from the ECU in a shielded, it's shielded basically to cut down on electrical noise. And the reason why this has been cut off is because I stole the plug for my throttle body conversion on my Micra, because I'm using an MX5 coil. Then we got this one, which is power for the igniter, and this is the igniter. As you can see, there's a cable bundled up here. This is a condenser for the ignition system, but this is bundled up. It just went to the diagnostics plug. So I really don't think I need it. It was just for diagnosing if there's a problem with the ignition system regarding the igniter. I've got coolant gauge, and then some wires like this I'm not 100% sure what they do at the moment, so they're just bundled up in the loom for the minute. And same with that. Like, a lot of these will probably go, but I could do with a better. And the same here. These wires, they all go to this small plug, and I'm sure they're for things that I don't really need to care about. Can't even remember what that was for now. I think it's just an earth. Should have written on it. Got more earths. That's for the O2 sensor. Missing the plug because it was wired into a Y-band setup. And then down here, that goes to the fan switch, and I've actually taken that. Well, there was a wire going to the ECU plugs, but I've just got rid of it. I'm not going to use that. I'm probably going to use the Nissan fan control circuit. It doesn't matter what thermistor I use, as long as it's right for the engine. So CTS, coolant temperature sensor, CAS, cam angle sensor, that is the fan switch, and then the one back there is the coolant gauge. And again, I'll probably use the coolant gauge and the fan switch circuits from, or you know, that's within the MX Micra loom already. That just makes much more sense. So one of my missions today is to go around with some kurust, because I'm having a bit of beef with some rust, and it looks, I mean, when you put the kurust on, it doesn't look great. Like, it just looks a bit terrible, but it looks better than rust. And kurust it now, and then I can prime it when it's dry. Give it a bit of rub down at a later date, just try and stop it rusting away. I got a RWD Boost solenoid. It's only a 3-port, so I don't know whether I'm going to go for a 4-port. So that's probably about it for the updates right now. Pretty sure I've already updated with the bulkhead. Got some, like, that'll probably be exchanged out for fender bolts, something fancy, or slide latches, something quick release. I don't even need to take it off to get to the rear spark plug. I'm going with coil-on plugs. So that wire, these wires here, I need to make like a sub-loom to go to some coil packs, some coil-on plugs. So I need to get some coil-on plugs and matching plugs to plug into them with some wiring or some new pins. Oh, by the way, the injectors are RX-8 yellows. I'm not sure what power they're going to get me to, but I'm restricted to the power level it's already at, which is it's about 245 foot-pounds and 280 horsepower. So I'm stuck there right now until I build a stronger engine. Oh yeah, I was going to show you this as well. Really should have done it. But this is a tool that I made, the former for making tunnels. And what I do is I mark out my sheet metal, and I drop this on top of the sheet metal on a nice sturdy flat bench, and I G-clamp it down, and then I can pull the sheet metal up around the former, and I'll just get like a big block of wood, nice flat bit of wood like that. And I'll like hammer until, you know, I've got a really nice tight radius around the former. Right, here's a little bit of a demonstration. So imagine this piece of metal is the full length. So my tunnel sections can be up to this length. And to be honest, any more than that makes it really hard to pull it around the former and get a nice result. So obviously this is the G-clamp down, but what I do is I'll clamp this down here and here on the bench, and then I pull that up around, and then I pull that up around, and I'll show you this in a minute. So it's quite hard to see, but there's it's a little bit loose. It's not really that tight on the radiuses, so then I get my block of wood and I'll hammer the full length until I've got a nice tight radius. And that's how I made that all the way back to there. And it's how I did it originally on the 4-wheel drive as well, exactly the same tool. After a little bit of kurust, decided to leave the tunnel because I still need to do some welding on it. I'm not sure how kurust affects welding. I'm sure I've welded for it before. But anyway, yep, whole bulkhead's done. Both sides and a couple bits on the floor. Back half of the tunnel, the welds along the floor. Also done inside there. To try and make it look a bit better. I don't know what I'm going to do about this lot here. It looks rough. And that panel there, that hole needs filling. So I'll probably make a new panel for just there. But down through there, that looks rough. But that was something I'd done ages ago. So all of this is done. It looks a lot better. So I think that's all I'm going to do on this car tonight. Although the other thing I wanted to do was I wanted to make something that will bolt on to these bolts and then weld to here, and then I'm just going to cut the whole front off. I don't know if I mentioned this already, but I have to put a fair notch in here for tyre clearance, and also it's a bit of a problem getting tyre clearance like here and here, if I remember rightly. So I think I'm going to cut straight down through here, weld plates on that I can bolt tube, and have a tubular front piece that will go all the way around on the top, and then a tubular bottom piece that will support the radiator, and those two will be joined with verticals that then the bumper can mount to, because the bumper bolts in here. The intention is to make a fiberglass mould of this, but it won't have any of this garbage. It'll be cut off across, cut off just underneath the headlight basically, and it will just be an upper section fiberglass front panel. Then in the event of a big off, I can make a new tubular bit, and then if any minor damage, the fiberglass can probably put back in the mould and fix it all up, or alternatively just make a whole new one. So yeah, that's going to be it for now. I think the next video will probably be uprights or skyline or more this. Anyway, I think it's time for something to eat. I'm pretty hungry, and I will catch you later. Cheers.